bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, he used to go in the outskirts of Medina and he used to sit with them. He used to cook for them whatever food was available and made sure that they are fed. And not only that, he was attending the janazah of those people who were dying because of the starvation. There are huge number of people died because of the starvation at that time in the drought. And Umar himself was no different. He was not the one that he tried to keep the food for himself or he has the luxurious food available for him and not for anybody else. And it's not only Umar bin Khattab, he made it for himself like that. Rather, he also restricted his family as well. And one of his sons, one time, he saw him, he was eating a watermelon. Subhanallah, watermelon, which is nothing. And he ran after his son and wanted to know where did he get this watermelon. And until he found out that his son had few dates and he traded those dates to get the watermelon, hence he allowed him to eat at that time. So he was careful about not only himself, but rather also his family as well, that they are not the one who are living a luxurious life while the ummah was going through difficult times. Then, now, it's not the issue of Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu's time state was very huge. Muslims were opening Romans, they were fighting against Romans and Persians and opening the lands over there. And hence, Egypt was open. Hence, Syria was open. Iraq was open, which is Persian Empire and Roman empires. So he sent a letter to Amr bin al-As, who was the wali of Egypt. And he said to him, this is from Amir al-Mu'mineen, Umar bin Khattab, to Amr bin al-As, to remind him that while he is living a luxurious life and we are dying here out of hunger, how can you let it go like this? And Amr bin al-As radiallahu anh, right away, he sent 3,000 camels loaded with goods. And he also said that when the first camel is entering, the last will be leaving from me. And he made sure that also from sea, there were ships were sent with the goods. Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah, radiallahu an, he gathered about 4,000 camels loaded with goods. And he came by himself with the food. And he wanted to distribute the food by himself. Umar bin Khattab radiallahu an, he wanted to pay him for his services. And Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah radiallahu an, he said that he doesn't want, he has no need of it. And Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah radiallahu an, about him, Umar bin Khattab said once that all the wealth that came into the state, that changed everybody except Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah radiallahu an. When he visited him one time, he found nothing but a sword and a skin, which is called a sack of a skin for water, and there was some mats to sleep on. That's all it was in his house. Subhanallah. And then we see that similarly, Muawiyah radiallahu anh from Sham, he sent a lot of goods, thousands of camels towards Medina as well. And we see that the problem of the Medina, this drought or Amu Ramada, was taken care of. Now, why am I talking about this out of nowhere? Subhanallah, today, what we see in Gaza, there is a famine going on. There is a forced famine going on. And as the reports talk about, there's about 370,000 people. They're at the risk of dying because of starvation. And the rest of the ummah in Gaza already are also going through different forms of starvation. And I'm very sure most of us have seen different videos. Even to the point you find a small kid is eating grass. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Is eating grass. And we see that they are crushing the fodder that they give to the animals, and they're making bread out of it and eating that. And now look at the situation of the rest of the ummah. We find the Muslim ummah have states which are around Palestine. You find them, they are one of the richest nations in the world. And they have all sorts of resources there. But our brothers and sisters, they do not have access to any of those things. There's miles and miles long trucks and trucks are there who want to enter with the goods, but we find our own leaders or leadership, they do not allow them to enter. And subhanAllah, now compare this with Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh. And that's our purpose of gathering here. I don't want to just talk about the stories of the Sahaba, rather, we want to compare, we want to relate to our lives. We want to revive the legends we talk about. We know that Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh is not going to come back from the grave. The thing that made Umar ibn Khattab, the way he acted, was the Islam. Otherwise, before Islam, during the Jahiliyyah, he is one of those people who used to beat up his female slave because she became a Muslimah. He was on his way to kill Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's the one who beat up his sister and his brother-in-law, Sa'id bin Zayd radiallahu anh, and Fatima bin Khattab. And then once Islam entered into his heart, what we see is that Umar bin Khattab, he is from the kind of a Jahiliyyah that he was living the life of, he became Al-Faruq. He became the distinguisher of Haqq and the Batil. That's what Umar bin Khattab was. But Umar bin Khattab became Umar bin Khattab because of Islam. That Islam, my brothers, that still exists. That Islam is there. Allah Azza wa Jal has taken the responsibility of preserving the dhikr that Allah revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. That we indeed are the one who revealed this dhikr, this Quran, this sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We are the one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we revealed this. We are the one who are going to make sure that it is preserved. إِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so now, that's not a problem. The Islam is preserved, it's there. It is us now. What are we doing? Are we connecting? Are we following the teachings of Islam, teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and reviving those personalities? Because those personalities can be revived. I am not talking about the blessing of the Sahaba. There is no way we can compare the blessings of the Sahaba. But when it comes to the actions, yes, we can. As a matter of fact, we are told to follow not only Sahaba, but the Qudwa, our Qudwa Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He's our example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not ask us to do something if Allah does not give us the capability of it. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the capability before He holds us accountable for something. So now, talking about Amr Ramada, so we see that in the time of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in the time of Abu Bakr, Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anh, when Amr Ramada, or the year of ashes, was going on, we find that Umar al-Khattab was able to resolve this issue. And now when we are talking about today's forced famine, it's not even a famine, real famine, a forced famine, which can be taken care of. The issue is not the resources. The issue is the distribution of the resources. The issue is who is the one who has the control over these resources and to distribute these resources over the ummah. And now today, yes, we need the very same leadership back. Unfortunately, we have the leaderships all across. Palestine is surrounded by all the Arab nations, all the Muslim nations, but we see nothing except lip service. As a matter of fact, we find other way around. Those very same nations, rather than helping our brothers and sisters in Gaza, they are the source of keeping the Zionist state alive. They are the one who are supporting, who are providing all the resources so they can continue on. So my brothers, the reason I picked this topic for us is to understand this leadership is an obligation for us to have over us. As an ummah, it's an obligation. It is not because we are going through any sufferings. Rather, to rule by Islam, to implement the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, so we can solve not only the issues of the Muslims, but of the non-Muslims, and even the animals, whatsoever the creatures are out there. And that's why Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anh, he used to say that if there is And the different reports talk about it, whether it's a dog or a baby goat or and so on and so forth. If that trips by the river Dajla, Allah Azza wa Jal on the Day of Judgment will ask Umar why Umar did not pave the path. And that's how Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anh, he used to be. And this is our true leadership, and that's what we have to revive back. And we have what it takes, which is the Islam, which is preserved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We still have it, and we can produce the very same personality. Jazakumullah khairan, and if there is any questions or comments about the subject, inshallah, I will try to answer them.